Hi everyone. So I thought I'd do this video as everyone is now pretty much stuck at home, just to help some of you guys out. In my job, a high percentage of my clients that come for a sports massage are actually people that have desk jobs. And whenever I have a client come to me that, says that this is the type of the job that they do, I usually know immediately, that there are certain muscles that are going to be tight and that are going to need some work. So, poor posture at work when you're in a sitting position is one of the most common reasons why you suffer pain or tension around the neck and shoulder and upper back area. Sometimes this might be accompanied by headaches, which is usually due to the muscle that runs up into the neck. And this is because the forward head position, when you're sitting at a computer, puts strain and tension on those muscles, and also on the muscles, an area around the base of the brain stem. So, with this current situation that we're all now finding ourselves in, many of us are still working from home. We may be sat in front of a computer for longer periods of time than usual, and therefore we're going to be more at risk of muscle tension, particularly around the neck and the shoulders. So, my clients always ask me, when, we find that they have these tight areas, what exercises, can they do at home in order to help maintain, flexibility and the strength of those muscles. So I'm today going to show you 10 basic stretches that you can do at your desk at home, or even, when you return to work, you can do them at your desk at work. And these stretches will work all of the muscles all around the shoulder, and the related areas that, are prone to becoming tight when you're sat at the desk all day. Now, I would usually suggest to my clients, particularly good exercise is internal and external rotation of the shoulder, which is great for the rotator cuff muscles, which are all those muscles that sit around your shoulder blade. I'm not actually going to do those today because I'm literally, for the purpose of this video, doing, offering you information on stretches that don't need dumbbells or resistance bands and that you can literally do sat at your desk or at least in a standing position. But there is one yoga pose that I'm going to show you, which actually does work on the rotation of the shoulder a little bit. So, okay, so here goes. Okay, so the first exercise that I'm going to show you is going to work around the front part of the shoulder, and also you can adapt it to work further into those chest muscles coming in there. So what you need, this is actually a standing one, so if you've got, a door frame near where you're working, okay, that's perfect. So we're going to grasp the top of the door frame above you, and you're going to just move forward a little bit, leaving the arm behind to stretch. And as you push forward, you're going to feel a stretch all down the front of the shoulder here. Okay, and then you're going to want to hold that for sort of 10 to 30 seconds, and you'll probably repeat about 3 times if possible. Obviously, if you was doing this at work, you might just sort of do one of each. So that's going to stretch right down the front of that shoulder. Now, if you want to adapt this, to work into those chest muscles, then what you can do is you can bring the arm down to the side of the door frame, and then again move forward a little, and then you're going to turn away from the arm slightly, okay, and as you turn you're going to push forward and you're going to feel a stretch right along here going into those pectoral muscles, and again you're just going to hold it. Okay, so we've worked a little bit around the front part of the shoulder and going into those chest muscles. There's actually another one we can do for the front of this muscle around here, so that's the deltoid muscle. Now, the deltoid muscle actually has 3 heads, so it has an anterior head at the front, a middle one, and then one at the back as well. So we're going to try and work the front and the back of that muscle. So firstly, to work the front, the easiest way of doing this, and you can do it either standing or sitting, doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're going to clasp the hands behind the back, and you're going to stretch the arms out as far as you can and hold for 10 to 30 seconds. And you're going to really squeeze. You're going to feel a real squeeze in between those shoulder blades there. And just hold that. And then again, you can hold for 10 to 30 seconds and repeat sort of 3 times. And you're going to feel that stretch right around that front head of the deltoid muscle. Okay, so then after working around the front of the shoulder, as I say, we're now going to work on that posterior head of the deltoid muscle. So the easiest way to do this, and again you can do it sitting or standing, is you're going to take your arm across the front of your body and you're going to pull it in tight towards your body with the other arm, and you're going to feel that stretch around the back of the shoulder there. And again, you can hold this for sort of 10 to 30 seconds and repeat 3 times. And then obviously repeat on the other side. Okay, so the next exercise that I'm going to show you actually works on the supraspinatus muscle, which is the top muscle of those 4 rotator cuffs that sort of sit around your shoulder blade. So it literally runs sort of across the top here of your shoulder. And, you know, this muscle in particular is quite often really, really tight in people that work at a desk all day. So, and quite often, you know, you'll find if you can loosen that area up, it then often has a knock-on effect sort of going into the neck or working, you know, further down around the shoulder. So, okay, so to work that supraspinatus muscle, now this one is actually easier to do stood up. So what you need to do, place your hand on your lower back, and then we're going to use the other hand to pull that elbow forward. Okay, keeping your hand on your lower back, and you're going to feel a stretch. You might feel a bit of a stretch in your arm, but you will feel a stretch around the back where that muscle runs. And just hold that arm forward. And again, hold for, you know, 10 to 30 seconds. And then repeat 3 times. And then repeat again on the other side. And that will stretch all around the back and top of the shoulder. Okay, so the next couple of stretches that I'm going to show you will basically work on strengthening those rotator cuff muscles, which will sit around the shoulder blade there. These muscles are basically there to stabilise the shoulder joint, you know, as a whole, and also help with, you know, rotational movements of the shoulder. So the first one that I am going to show you is basically a retraction and depression of the scapula or the shoulder blade. Okay, and so for this one, you can do this one really easily sitting down at your desk. So you're literally going to raise the shoulders up, and then you're going to roll them back and really squeeze between those shoulder blades. And you will actually feel all the muscles around the shoulder blade there working. And then just hold the squeeze again for sort of a count of 10, and then release. And then maybe do that, you know, maybe 3 times, holding at the point where you've got those shoulder blades squeezed together, and then release. So that's the first one that's going to work all of these rotator cuff muscles. Okay, so the next strengthening exercise for those rotator cuff muscles that sit all around the shoulder blade is going to involve a push-pull movement of that shoulder blade. So sitting up straight, and you're going to put your arms out in front, straight, and you're going to reach forward by moving your shoulders only. So you're not going to move your head or your neck, you're not going to hinge at the hips and lean forward. Literally, the only thing that should be moving is your shoulder, okay? And so arms straight out in front, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your shoulders right back as far as you can go, keeping the arms straight and the head still. And then you're going to push them forward and back, and hold it on each movement and forward. So you're going to hold for maybe about 10, you know, when you come back, and then again hold for about 10 when you go forward. Now, as your shoulders get stronger and more flexible, you can speed the movement up a little bit, but still making sure that only the shoulder is moving and nothing else. Once you also, you know, feel that your shoulders are a bit, you know, a little bit looser, and, you know, maybe a little bit stronger as well, you can also, if you want to work the muscles a little bit harder, you can actually use a wall for resistance. So when you're in that push motion, if you've got your hands, you know, against a wall, then, you know, as you, well, the best way to explain it is when you are in the pull, so you've pulled your shoulders back, then stand against a wall with your palms against the wall. And then as you push, you'll be pushing into the wall. So you're going to get the resistance of that wall, you know, to work the muscle harder. Okay, and so those 2 exercises that I've just shown you will then help to work all around that shoulder blade. So so far we've worked the front of the shoulder, we've worked the back of the shoulder, and we've worked those rotator cuff muscles. Okay, so at the beginning of this video, I said that I would usually recommend to my clients to do an internal and external rotation exercise, but because we're looking at stretches to do at your desk, I've sort of left those normal exercises that I would recommend out. However, those of you that have done any kind of yoga will probably know this next stretch, and it's great because actually the arm that moves up, you know, moves into full shoulder flexion with external rotation, and the arm that goes down moves again into internal rotation with extension. So, you know, so we're still getting some rotational work done on the shoulder. But this, so this is called the cow face pose. And it's great for just generally opening up all around that shoulder capsule. and just helping the shoulders to feel a lot more loose and flexible. So I'm first going to show you, sort of from the front, and then I will show you from the back so you can see, exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So you're going to start, and again, you can do this sitting or standing. Okay, so start with your arms by your sides, and then we'll start with the right arm coming up forward and overhead, flexing the right shoulder and the elbow so that the palm is on your upper back with your fingers pointing down towards the floor. Then with your left arm, you're going to reach behind you, creating extension in that left shoulder. And you're going to bend at the elbow and slide your forearm up your back. And then if you can reach up between the shoulder blades, you're actually going to grasp the fingers, or if you're really flexible, you might be able to grasp the hand or even at the wrist. So this particular stretch it's not only a great way to actually stretch all around that shoulder capsule, but it's also a really good test for you to see just how flexible you are and how relaxed those muscles are all around your shoulder. So I'm now going to show you that same stretch from the back so you can see exactly what your hands are supposed to be doing. Okay, so again, so we're going to bring that right arm up with some flexion and rotation at the elbow. Flex the elbow, palm on the top of the back with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. We're going to bring the left arm round, flexing at the elbow, reach up, and we're going to grasp those fingers or the hand or wrist, and you're just going to hold that. So that's really going to work and help these muscles, again, the rotator cuff muscles, but just help open up all around that inner shoulder capsule. And you'll also feel a stretch down the tricep muscle on the arm that's in the upward position. So you'll also get a little bit work on the arms as well, and sometimes if those arm muscles are tight, then that can then pull on the shoulder as well, so it just indirectly also helps keep the shoulder nice and relaxed. So while we're now on the subject of those surrounding muscles that can sometimes either affect the shoulder or be affected by the shoulder, if the shoulder muscles are tight, then it can cause problems in other areas. So these last three stretches that I'm going to show you actually work on muscles surrounding the shoulders that also tend to get, really quite tight with those of you that are working, at a computer a lot of the day. So the first one that we're going to do is actually an upper trap stretch. So for those of you that, maybe don't know your muscles, so your trapezius muscle, actually it comes across the shoulders and then it comes down, and so it covers all that part of the upper back there. And quite often, it's one of the superficial muscles of the back, but quite often you'll find, it's an area of, high tension, particularly again for those of you that are working at a desk all day. So we're going to do a stretch just to work on that upper trap area there. As I say, this is perhaps sort of one of the most common type muscles in those of you working at a desk. So to do this stretch, you're going to sit in an upright position. Keep your shoulders nice and relaxed with shoulder blades down. And to stretch, we're going to start by stretching the left upper trapezius. So you're going to rotate the head slightly to the left, and the right hand is going to reach over to contact around and above the left ear. And then you're going to draw the head, keeping those shoulders down. Draw the head and neck gently towards the right, with your head bowed slightly forwards. And you're going to hold that for 30 seconds and then repeat 3 times. And you'll feel a stretch around that upper trapezius on the left side. And then obviously you're going to change and you're going to do the other side. So again, to do the right side, you're going to rotate the head slightly to the right, and this time with the left arm, reach over, above and around the ear, okay? And then with the neck gently towards the right, with your head bowed slightly, and this time you'll feel the stretch across the top of that right trapezius. So we've now worked all around the shoulder, and we've worked into the arm and the upper back. Okay, so the next stretch we're going to do is actually similar to that last stretch we did on the trapezius muscle. So, but this one is going to work the levator scapulae muscle, which again is commonly tight. Certainly in people who have desk jobs, and also, I mean, there's usually a certain level of tightness in, I would say, the majority of people, but also, you know, if you sleep on your side, you can get a lot of tightness. So this is the muscle that runs, the tendon inserts just at the back at the top, and it runs all the way up into the neck. And so you can see if you're sleeping on your side, it's sometimes sort of in a slightly odd position. And I always say to my clients, it's that muscle where, you know, sometimes when you wake up first thing in the morning, and if you slept a bit awkwardly and you feel a bit like a chicken that's, you know, had its neck half wrung, and yet, you know, your head's all a bit kind of squiff, you know, and it hurts when you twist your neck, that's that muscle. And, you know, so if it gets really tight, you can also be quite prone to headaches with tension in this area. So, you know, it's a really good muscle to try to work if you can. It's, you know, again, if you're also hunched, you know, so this can come from like working at a computer, but also with bad posture. You know, if you kind of tend to hunch over, you're probably going to get quite a lot of aching in this muscle. So, okay, so like with the trapezius stretch, you're going to sit in an upright posture. You're going to draw your shoulder blades gently downwards, they're nice and relaxed. And we're going to rotate the head slightly to the right. And you're going to take your right hand and reach over your head to just above your left ear. And then you're going to draw your head and neck gently to the right to achieve the stretch, and you'll feel that stretch right down there along that muscle. Okay, now you only even need, you know, just a gentle bend of the neck to feel this stretch. And again, you're going to hold it for about 30 seconds, repeat 3 times, and then obviously we're going to do it to work, you know, the other side. We're going to rotate the head slightly to the left, and then left arm over onto the right ear, and then gently pull to stretch down the right side of that levator scapulae. And so that's now worked the neck. So the last stretch that I'm going to show you is actually going to work on the pectoralis minor, which is one of those muscles that no one ever stretches. They never really think about it, or probably even really know where it is. So this, obviously your pec major comes right the way across your chest. The pec minor is really on that outer edge of the chest. And again, I get a lot of people come in who, work at a desk. I even had a drummer once who his were exceptionally tight. And it's one of those muscles that, because a lot of therapists, your general massage therapists they wouldn't even know how to work this muscle. So then quite often you might come to a sports therapist and, we might do work, because again, if this area sort of just coming into the outer chest is tight, what that can do is it can then pull down on the front of the shoulder and therefore cause shoulder pain. So it's really important to actually work right the way around the shoulder and just ensure that you've got no tightness there going into the chest. So for this one, in an upright posture, again, we're going to place your hands behind your neck, link the fingers, and we're going to draw the elbows back, and you're going to keep the chin tucked in throughout. And then you're going to try to reach your shoulders to your ears. And what you're going to feel is a stretch just down here. And so that's going to hit that, pectoralis minor muscle. And again, hold it for about 30 seconds and then repeat 3 times. And so that is probably the best way of working, that muscle that, as I say, otherwise wouldn't really get, stretched. And certainly, when I treat around this area on my sports therapy clients, I would say more often than not, people do find it quite uncomfortable, because it is one of those muscles that gets tight because no one ever really pays much attention to it. But, if you, keep that one nice and loose and relaxed, as I say, it can help prevent, any tension that will then pull down on the front of that shoulder and cause, further problems around the whole shoulder joint. So that is your 10 basic desk stretches to ease tension all around the shoulder. As I say, you can quite easily do these, when you're back at work also. But hopefully that is enough to tide you over while you are stuck at home for however long it may be. But if you want to, if you want more information about shoulder tension or any other area, you can watch any of my other videos, or, there's lots of information in my posts on my Facebook page or Instagram, and you can always message me with any queries that you might have. So take care and happy stretching. Bye.